George Osborne was seen crying in St Paul's Cathedral this week, but it may not just have been the funeral of Lady Thatcher that brought a tear to his eye. It's been a bad week for the Chancellor, with a second ratings agency downgrading the UK and the International Monetary Fund slashing its forecast for the country's growth this year. Mr Osborne is in Washington for a meeting of the financial body, and our economics editor Faisal Islam is there. Faisal.
Katie, pretty awful timing for that downgrade at the very moment that George Osborne had to sit down for lunch with the world's most important finance ministers. The downgrade, the second of three major credit ratings agencies to cut Britain's AAA rating that it's held for decades. But that's the least of his worries. There's a shift in the global wind about the sorts of twin policies Britain is following. Christine Lagarde has just said that there are worries about currency valuations and easy money policies on the rise. Britain has pursued that. But there's also a turn in the wind about the sorts of austerity policies followed by Britain. Britain becoming the poster boy, if you like, rightly or wrongly, of what not to do. And I've been speaking to one of the proponents and architects of these types of policies in the Eurozone here at the IMF meeting today.
The G20 might as well be the G-nothing, given the lack of progress in dealing with the world economic crisis. But for the Chancellor, at the end of a torrid week, new dangers emerging here at the IMF, even before the unprecedented twin downgrade of Britain's AAA credit rating. The IMF, perhaps the most important supporter of Mr Osborne's deficit plan until now, is moving towards a key report next month calling for Britain to slow austerity.
We've also repeatedly, in the last couple of years, and I would not prejudge what we'll do with the next Article 4, we've also said that should growth abate, should growth be particularly low, then there should be consideration to adjusting by way of slowing the pace.
Well, there's certainly no global solution and plenty of self-inflicted global challenges for the finance ministers and central bankers gathered in the IMF's atrium. For the Eurozone, there's that botched bailout of Cyprus, which punctured 6 months of relative calm. But generally speaking, there's also a growing move against austerity as practiced in the Eurozone and in Britain.
The man on the right is the Dutch finance minister, Jeroen Dijsselbloem, the president of the Eurogroup and the man behind recent decisions in Europe.
The mistakes made by the Eurogroup on Cyprus have reignited the euro crisis, and you're also under pressure over the austerity policies which are leading to a recession in the Eurozone.
No, that's not at all the way I've experienced the last couple of days. I think there's actually broad agreement that the way that we dealt with Cyprus, especially in the second programme, the outcome was inevitable. We can and will adjust the speed in which we implement the strategy of deficit reduction, and that's exactly what we're doing now.
So the global support for austerity policies appears to be draining.
Now, the Chancellor says he is being flexible with fiscal policy and he's trying to support the economy with things like mortgage guarantees, and the IMF will listen. The nightmare scenario for the Chancellor is that building behind me, the White House, also in Congress, in their vitriolic arguments over the US budget deficit, they start to cite Britain as a poster boy of what not to do. Nightmare scenario for the coalition. We're not there yet, but this is moving in that direction. Katie.
Thanks, Faisal.